So Saturday afternoon here in Las Vegas, we actually had a fun card at the Apex. The fighters came through. In the main event, Manel Kape sent Asu Almabayev packing with a third round stoppage. I want to know, what does this mean for Starboy, who has risen towards the top of the UFC's shallow flyweight division? Dan, Tom, kick things off, man. What was your reaction?
I was impressed with just Kape in general, George. You know, he really showed improvements in this fight. He had a good showing in his last fight. I'm sure we'll talk about the elephant in the room, about the caveats of the last two stoppages, which are unfortunate, but they were two stoppages. And you said his name, Starboy. I think he does bring that kind of, attention that's much needed to this division. Let's face it. We might be talking about another rematch here, but he is really getting, at least hardcore fans excited. I don't know how well that translates to the casuals, considering the UFC, since the Demetrius Johnson age, are still continuing to set up their flyweight division to fail by anchoring them to, let's be honest, crap cards. But I like what I see from Kape.
Nice. All right. Nolan King, how about you, man? Did you like what Starboy did? Minus, I guess, some of these fouls that we will get to. What did you think? Did it warrant maybe him leaping ahead of Kai Kara France too? Was it that good or maybe not?
You're on mute, Nolan.
This is just a trend today, huh? We're firing on all cylinders, but I think I don't know if we'll leapfrog Kai Kara France because we don't really know like how set that fight is, right? Is it something that's already determined behind the scenes? Is it already penciled in? Is everybody looking to is the plan for Newark or Las Vegas or whatever else is coming up? So I think it really comes down to that. But if you threw that out the window and if there was nothing planned, I think you could make the argument for Kape to be the next guy, right? He's a fresh face. He's somebody that could promote fights. He's exciting for the most part, outside of the Makayev fight. So I think it was a big win. It was good for his stakes. I don't know. I think timing really in 2025 is everything about who can go, right? The UFC has a certain schedule. They have a quota they need to keep up with title fights on pay-per-views. So it really comes down to whether or not, kind of what's going on with this flyweight fight, right? There were some reports that it was going to take place potentially on that Miami card, and obviously that's not happening. So who knows what's going on? Is there an issue with Pantoja? Is there an issue with France? We don't know. So I think it's really just going to come down to who is available when the UFC needs that fight.
All right, I'm just kidding. No, you bring up a good point. They brought Pantoja on after the fight, and he talked with Kape. A lot of respect. Neither guy really went the route of trash talk, but Pantoja was even saying he wanted to fight on 314, like Nolan noted. So it sounds like maybe more of the hesitation comes either from the Kai Kara France side or the UFC just wants him somewhere else. Which, think about it, he ain't going to go on 315 because you're not going to have 3 title fights. So they're probably already looking at either 316 or I guess the next one after that would be International Fight Week. So now Kape could possibly at least make himself available if you thought it was enough of a performance. Did you think so, Goes?
You know what? So when I break down that fight, what I saw was a little bit different than what I had anticipated. I thought with everything that was on the line, you might get a Manel Kape that's going to come forward and just be an absolute buzzsaw, right? But he didn't do that. However, I think he still accomplished what he wanted to do because we came out there and what we did get was speed, precision, good fight IQ. I thought he impressed us a different way, and I was super, super happy with that fight and that performance. And you got to imagine, right? Like, they haven't booked Kai Kara France, and there's got to be a reason for that. And the reason, I think, was pretty obvious. Let's see what Manel Kape does. And I think what he did was good enough to probably bypass Kai Kara France. And honestly, if you're asking me who I'm more excited to see, I would be more excited to see Manel Kape in this fight. He's just shown us that he's grown as a fighter and things are just a little bit different in his repertoire and his game. He's got a good attitude. He's fun. He can sell himself. I'm sure we'll get to the fouls. That was a little different and unfortunate, but the fight itself was a great performance.
Yeah, I mean, he shut down Almabayev pretty much from like the 30-second mark on. I think we all kind of knew who was going to win this fight. But yeah, there was a few other things that we can jump on in here. So yeah, folks, there is nothing for Pantoja as of right now. He sounds like he's healthy and ready to go. He really wants to fight at 314 because he lives in South Florida. Because he wants to fight and just go home. He's a homeboy, sleep in my own bed, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Dan, you wanted to weigh in again?
Just an important thing here. I really hope Cop does get some traction because maybe it'll encourage Ghost to bring back some of the old school MMA junkie soundboards, and we can get some Schwarzenegger in here going, "I'm a cop, you idiots!" Because I don't know about you guys, but when I have to remember a pronunciation of Manel Kape's name, I think of that kindergarten cop line that probably just aged me
sure.
to our audience.